Hello everybody, this is Stephanie. Welcome to another video. I know that you've probably seen this one and wonder why I have this one up again. And the reason I am making this one today, which is a netted bracelet, and what I've done is embellished it with crystals on top. It's got a little loop at the end and a peyote toggle, which we'll learn how to make. So you do put those together, like so. This one's a little bit tight, and there you have it. There's the bracelet. Okay, so it's a very pretty bracelet, and the reason I'm doing this is a viewer was watching the video for this peyote and square stitch bracelet, and I happened to reference the clasp on this bracelet, and she loved this bracelet and asked me if I would make a video. So I said sure, why not? So I went back. This is I've made this a while ago. I went back into my little beading book and found some instructions, and we'll make this. So hopefully we'll put this one to bed, and we'll look at this. I want to adjust my lights a little bit. Okay, so as I said, this is a netted bracelet, and I know you've probably seen many knitted bracelets on many channels. There's one bracelet, a capriccio, which this is not. This is a 5-bead netting, and that's what a capriccio. It's all 5 beads. It's a center bead, which is a crossover bead, and 2 netting beads on either side. So that makes it 5 beads. So 2 beads on either side of a crossover bead. The capriccio is all 5-bead netting, and when I made this bracelet, my intent was to make a capriccio, and it curled a little bit, and then it flattened out, and it became a capriccio because it didn't make it. But I thought, well, let's just continue. So I continued on with the bracelet, and I just made it with a clasp, and it looked really, really pretty. So I made that for the holidays, and I know I've used this clasp in a lot of videos. I just was at the time using this clasp a lot. It really is pretty, and it looks pretty with this clasp, showing or not showing. So this is all 5-bead netting, and I'll explain that to you more later. What we're doing is we're going to change it up a little bit, because the 5-bead netting, what does it? It makes it curl. So when this was curling, it was great, but then as I went on, it started to flatten out. I had to keep it from curling a bit, just loosen my tension so it didn't curl so much. So that's the capriccio. And then, I was so happy with the way that one came out, that I made this necklace to go with it. So this was my holiday outfit to my husband's Christmas party or holiday party. So that is something that we'll learn also. Maybe we'll do that a little bit later on, though. That's a little more wintry stuff. But anyway, so I will let's get see what we need for this project, and then we'll get started on some netting. So this is the netting we're going to use. It's a 5-bead netting, but the turnaround has a couple extra beads on it. It keeps it flat, and it's just a little more roomy for the crystals. You don't have to push them down as hard. So it's pretty. I think it's nice. You see a little bit of the beads on the outside, which I think makes it a little less formal looking and fancy. So it's sort of an everyday. It looks pretty on the wrist. You can make it with any color. I've gone with bronze 4mm crystals, and my inside beads are right here. I have as my cross bead a miyuki shiny metallic bronze, and I've got a miyuki matte metallic bronze. Now I've used 11 O's in both of these, and I'll put that in this description bar. You can use a bigger crossover bead. I'm going to try to zoom in and do it this way. I found that this way worked best for me. Maybe that's why my capriccio didn't work out. I didn't use the 8 beads in the middle. But let's just work on this one a little bit and see what happens. All right, so again, here are your materials. You'll need a size 10 beading needle, some 8-pound fireline, okay, and I'm using this. I get it at the fishing store or the sporting goods store. You'll need size, as I said, size 11O shiny matte bronze seed beads, miyuki, and some shiny seed beads, and then some 11-0 matte metallic bronze seed beads. So you can tell the difference between, so the shiny bead is going to be our cross bead. So you always know you're going to cross through that bead, and it'll get clear as we go on. It really is easy. It's just it's very visual. So when you see it, you'll understand it better. And a little stop bead. So why don't you get your materials together and we'll get started. Okay, so we've got a pile of shiny beads, size 11, and a pile of matte beads, size 11. These are miyukis. This is matte metallic bronze, and this is metallic bronze. These are both 11-0s. Got myself my little stop bead. I'm going to put that little stop bead on my needle. We're going to do some netting. Okay, there we go. Leave yourself a bit of a tail so you can use that later, maybe 8-9 inches. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take what we have here. The shiny beads are our crossover beads, and so here's the bracelet. You see how it's like a lattice? So the shiny beads you're going to cross through, and the matte beads are going to be the netting beads. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one shiny bead, 2 matte beads, and we're going to repeat that 8 times. So that's 1 shiny bead, 2 matte beads, 1 shiny bead, 2 matte beads. That's 3. Just bring them down. I think I'm going to try to get a little closer. If I get blurry, I apologize, but I just want you to really see how the netting, how it works. Let me wait for that to clear up for a second. Gee, it looked so pretty before. Now I have to move everything down. Okay, so right now I have 3 sets of 1 shiny bead, and 2 matte beads. Okay, shiny bead, 2 matte beads, that's 4. Shiny bead, 2 matte beads, that's 5. Shiny bead, 2 matte beads, that's 6. Shiny bead, 2 matte beads, that's 7. Shiny bead, 2 matte beads, that's 8. Okay. This is a good opportunity to check and make sure you have exactly what you should have on here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 sets of 1 shiny bead and 2 matte beads. Okay. So with this, the first couple of rows are going to be the hardest because you have a turn to make. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and come in a little closer and see if my camera clears up. Come on, little guy. I like to give my camera a break. He's done a lot of good things for me, but he's going to have to go so I can actually get a better camera, and we'll just use you for snapshots. Okay, so go up, count up from the bottom. So here you are at the bottom. I really want you to see this. 4 shiny beads. So that's, keep my hand still. Here's your needle. So that's 1, 2, 3, and here's number 4. I want you to put your needle up through, go up through number 4 and pull. I'm holding my hand over the project so I'm going to actually cut my tail off a little bit. Don't you do that, because this is just a little demo part, so it's just easier not having that tail all over the place. So you've gone up bead number 4. So what you've got is you've got this little shiny bead on the bottom, and then the rest are all sitting next to each other. Okay? Oops. That I'm sure was not helpful. So let me get back in order here. So you're going up the 4th bead from the bottom. Just go up that bead, and it's going to leave you a loop on the bottom. And this is what the loop should look like. So on the bottom it's got the 5 bead netting, and then it's got, they're mirroring each other on the side. So this is the 4th bead that's coming up. Now, that being said, the next, that's what's going to happen on the turns. Okay, and we'll show you that when we do a turn. That was, we did a turn, but we didn't do it with beads, with adding beads. So now you're going to do 5 bead netting, which is 2 mats, a shiny, 2 mats. Okay, so that's what you have: 2 mats, a shiny, 2 mats. You're going to skip the next shiny, and you're going to go up the next shiny. And what that's going to do, if I've done it right, and I think I have, it's going to put these 5 next to each other. Okay? Take another 5 beads, so 2 matte, 1 shiny, 2 matte, skip the next one, go up the last one that's next to your stop bead. I'm going up my stop bead. Don't go up your stop bead. Just go through the bead before it. Okay? So I'm going to pull that. And this is what you're going to have. Let me get it over here. Let me get it clear. Okay? So it looks a little wonky right now, but you have 2 5 bead sections sitting together, and you've got a turn here. So now you have to make a turn. So with this, you can either turn it over like this, or you can keep going from the top. I'm going to keep going from the top just because it might be easy for you to follow that way. So I'm going to take my regular 5 bead netting. So that's 1, 2 matte beads, a shiny bead, 2 matte beads. Okay. But I want to make that turn a little looser. I want the beads to come out a little bit. So I'm going to add another shiny, another 2 matte. Just these 3 beads. I want to add these 3 onto my regular 5 bead. So I have 2 mattes, 1 shiny, 2 mattes, and then I'm adding a shiny and 2 mattes. Okay? So look at that. This is what you're going to have on your needle. Well, only when you make turns. And you're going to go through the very first sticking out, which will be sticking out, you'll see in the future, shiny bead. So you're only going through shiny beads at this point. The shiny bead is what's going to make the lattice look. So here you see it's on the side, and pull. Oops. I hate pulling it out of my hand. It's just, I think I've got it stuck around here. Okay. Okay. So there you've made your turn. Alright? So you've got that same 5 on the bottom, and then the 2, and then you're coming out of this bead. Now you go back to your regular 5 bead netting. So 2 matte, a shiny, 2 matte. Okay? I'm going to go through the next bead of that shiny bead of that next unit, that sort of diamond shape. And I'm going to pull through. Okay? That's what you have. Do it again. 2 mattes, a shiny, 2 mattes. Go through the last shiny bead, like that. this is what you have. So now we're going to do our turn. All right? So I'm just going to stay in this direction instead of flip it. I would flip it, but I'm going to leave it this way just so you know it doesn't get confusing, because I started it that way. So here's my regular 5 bead netting, 2 mats, a shiny, 2 mats. And because I'm making a turn, it's just at the top and the bottom. When you do the turn, you're going to add an extra shiny and 2 mats. So here we go. Here's our regular 5 bead netting, which is 2 mats, hold on, a shiny and 2 mats, add an extra shiny and 2 mats. Write it down any way that you want, so you remember it. You know, just remember that when you turn, this is what's on your needle. Okay, so it's 2 mats, a shiny, 2 mats, a shiny, and 2 mats. Okay, so you've got 6 mats and 2 shinies. Okay, so we're going to go up. Actually, you know what's a real good idea is take your thumb and push that shiny bead out. So that's the next shiny bead, which is in, see how it's making a diamond? And pull. Okay, so now we should have that. So you're always going to have these 3, this little shiny bead at the bottom, and that's going to be helpful to us when we put our crystals on. So let's go back to the 5 bead netting, 2 mats, a shiny, 2 mats, and take your little thumb nail, push that shiny bead out, and go through it. Yeah, that's really helpful to put that that little oops, I went through 2. It is though, it's helpful to just make sure you go through the shiny. I went through 2. So there you go. All right, 2 mats, shiny, 2 mats. I'm going to go the last. See if I can get this clear. The last sticking out shiny bead. There we go. And this is what you have. Let's do it one more time. We'll do the turn. I'm not going to turn my piece. I would turn my piece and work the other way, but we've started this way, so I'm going to leave it this way. So 2 mats, a shiny, 2 mats, okay? And remember, we have to add an extra shiny and an extra 2 mats to make our turn. We're going to push that little shiny side bead out and go through that. Now this happens if you end up pulling it a little out of shape, just pull it back into shape, pull in. You'll get it, it'll go back into shape. Okay, now we're going back to the regular 5 bead netting. So in the middle it's all 5 beads, just the 2 mat. Okay, I'm going to push that with my nail. I'm going to go down the shiny. As I was saying, the rest of the, other than the turns, the rest of the netting is just the 5 bead netting. 2 mats, a shiny, 2 mats. You go through the sticking out shiny bead on the side of that diamond. So I'm going to do it again. 2 mats, a shiny, 2 mats. Here's the shiny bead. I'm going to go down that shiny bead, pull, just hold your finger on it, and it, you know, it keeps it in place. Okay, now we're going for our turn again. So let's do the turn one more time. So the regular 5 bead netting, 2 mats, a shiny, 2 mats, and remember, you have to add an extra shiny and 2 mats. Okay. And then you're going to go, you're coming out of that shiny one, go up this shiny one. It's the part that is, go through there. See, it's coming the side of the triangle. Hold it, put your finger over it, and pull it through. So you see, let's do one more. 2 mattes, a shiny, 2 mattes. Maybe, you know, if it's helpful to you, push out the shiny bead a little bit with your thumb, if you have a thumbnail, or just with your thumb. There you go. Do it again. 2 mattes, a shiny, 2 mattes. Go through the last shiny. There we go. And you're ready for your turn. Okay, should we do one more turn? Okay, we'll do one more turn. So we're going to do our regular 5 bead netting on the needle at first. 2 mattes, a shiny, 2 mattes, add a shiny, and 2 mattes. Okay, so this is what you're going to have on your needle when you turn. 2 mattes, a shiny, 2 mattes, a shiny, and 2 mattes. Okay, pop that. So you're coming out of that top one, pop your next one out, go through that shiny. See, it's sort of like a diamond. Okay, and then as soon as you're done making your turn, see how it's starting to look? Go right back to your 5 bead netting. It's just on the turns where you're adding the extra shiny and the 2 mattes. So there are 2 mattes, a shiny, 2 mattes. Push that little guy out, if that helps you. Go to clear up. Go down that group. Okay. Do it again. 2 mattes, a shiny, 2 mattes. Go down the last sticking out of the diamond shiny bead. Pull through, and there you have it. At this point, we're going to make our turn again. So you do your turn, and then keep going, and keep going until, see if I can get a little bit closer. I'm just can't wait to get another camera. Come on, straight, come on. There you go. A little bit more. I talk to my beads and my camera. Okay, it doesn't want to clear up on me, so I'm going to have to come out a little bit. Come on, you guys. Come on. Okay, I'm having some definite difficulty with my camera today. Does not want to clear up. So I apologize for taking so long to do this. I just would really like I was really hoping my camera would clear. Okay, well, finally. Gee, sorry. I'm so sorry. So keep going. Just keep going until you get the length of your bracelet. Now, the length of your bracelet, I think you want the netting. When you're done with the netting, it really should maybe make it a 1 row before it closes on your wrist, because the clasp, the toggle, and the loop, you can always change the size. You can change the size of the loop, but you can always add a longer base on the toggle. You know, you can add some beads and make the toggle, you know, this space longer. So I would go, you know, a row or so short of whatever your wrist size is. The toggle doesn't put that much on. As I said, we can adjust this a bit. Okay, so there you have it. Go have some fun. Do your netting. Don't forget, when you make your turns, you're putting on 2 matte, a shiny, 2 matte, a shiny, and 2 matte. You're adding those 3 extra beads, the shiny and the 2 matte, going around, and you're coming through the next very first shiny bead. So I think that, this is, I think you can, this is good. I think you can get this. Just rewind and look at it if you need to. I think we did it enough times that, you probably could remember it. Maybe watch it and write down, when I make my turn, put these beads on, because you have no idea how many times I've forgotten to put on a bead, even in the middle, because it's, again, very repetitious, and when things are repetitious, we don't pay attention as much, and it ends up, we can end up missing a bead. So just make sure all your beads are on there, and then we'll meet back here when you're done with your netting.